In a previous video, we covered some of the craziest records in NBA history. These included scoring feats, both good and bad, some outrageous season and career records, and some just downright embarrassing records. In this video, we're going to cover some records and facts that are beyond crazy. They're strange, unexpected, and sometimes completely unexplainable. Let's get started. Number 1. Not enough for MVP. The 1962 NBA season was possibly one of the greatest ever. That was the season Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points, a record, averaged over 50 points a game, a record, and played over 48 minutes per game, also a record that in itself is weird enough for its own place on this list. But what's even weirder about this amazing season is that despite Wilt's inhuman, record-setting performance, he didn't win MVP. Yep, apparently 50 points a game isn't really as valuable as you would think. Now this was also the season Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double, which has also never been done, except possibly by Russell Westbrook once this season is over. Was that enough for MVP? Nope. This is not just weird, but honestly totally unexplainable. Number 2, the quickest disqualification. By now, the hack-a-player strategy is commonplace in the NBA. But it wasn't too common at the time this record was set, back in 1997 by Bubba Wells of the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs were playing the Chicago Bulls and Dennis Rodman, who was a career 58% free throw shooter. Don Nelson decided to intentionally foul Rodman in an attempt to get an edge. Thus came the quickest disqualification in NBA history, done by Bubba Wells, who committed 6 fouls in 3 minutes. This was so uncommon at the time that even the commentators weren't sure what was going on.
They don't understand does anybody understand what's going on here? Look in the rule book.
What might be crazier than this was the fact that Rodman went 9 for 12 from the free throw line. Number 3, the most field goals in a quarter. It's no surprise to see Klay Thompson here. In fact, this amazing quarter by Klay Thompson, which took place in January 2015 against the Sacramento Kings, also made our list of the craziest records for the fact that it was the most points in a quarter. But there's also something weird about this record. In that quarter, Thompson tied the record for the most field goals made in a quarter at 13. Who did he tie with? Another Thompson, David Thompson, who set the record in April 1978. It would have been even more weird if this was his father, Michael Thompson, but it's still a funny coincidence nonetheless. Number 4, the one thing John Stockton never did. John Stockton holds several NBA records, most of which will probably never be broken. He's the all-time leader in assists and steals, as well as games played at his position. However, the weird thing about this all-time great is that he never, ever had a regular season triple-double. Now, he was never a prolific rebounder for sure, but you'd think at some point through his over 1,500 games, in some strange way he would get 10 rebounds. Nope, never happened. The only triple-double he ever achieved was in a playoff game in which the Jazz lost. Maybe it's better he never had a triple-double. Number 5, the first female NBA player. Could a woman make it in the NBA? It's a question that gets asked anytime a dominant player comes through women's college basketball. But did you know that there already was a woman who signed a contract with an NBA team? Her name was Ann Myers, and she is considered as one of the greatest female basketball players of all time. In fact, Bill Russell said she was one of the greatest players of all time, period. In 1979, she signed a $50,000 contract with the Indiana Pacers to participate in tryouts. She didn't make the team, but she did make history. Number 6, the first woman to play in a men's pro league. Even before Ann Myers, Penny Ann Early was signed by an ABA team in 1968 and actually played in a game. However, this wasn't quite the same as Ann Myers' venture. Early was the first licensed woman horse jockey, and several male jockeys boycotted the first 3 races she entered. As a show of support, the ABA's Kentucky Colonel signed her to a contract, even though she had never played basketball in her life. On November 28, 1968, Coach Gene Rhodes checked Early into the game. She inbounded the ball to a teammate who quickly called a timeout so she could check out of the game. It may have been more of a social statement than a sports moment, but it's a pretty crazy story nonetheless. Number 7, losing to the Bucks equals a championship. Here's a weird factoid. The Milwaukee Bucks have ended an opposing team's winning streak of at least 12 games 5 times in franchise history. This includes ending the Lakers' record-setting 33-game win streak. Now, the weird thing is that every single team whose winning streak was ended by the Bucks have gone on to win the NBA title that same season. What are the odds of that happening? So those are 7 of the weirdest NBA records and stories. Is there another one you can think of? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe for more NBA videos like this one, follow us on social media to get updates as soon as we post a new video, and follow me on Twitter at MTV_Sydney.